How are you guys? Welcome to HD Coins World, the ultimate destination for rare coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. I'm your host Noah, and I'm excited to share with you the fascinating world of old and rare coins worth millions. Let's start. 1965 $quarter coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and their jaw-dropping values. Today, we're going to talk about a particular coin that might just be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the United States of America 1965 $quarter. And believe me, this coin is not as common as you might think. So, stick around, because you're about to find out just how much this seemingly ordinary quarter could be worth. Now, you've probably seen or used a 1965 quarter before, right? It's got that classic design featuring George Washington on the front, with the eagle and olive branch on the reverse. But what if I told you that a select few of these quarters are worth way more than their 25-cent face value? Some can even fetch a small fortune, and I mean big money. Let's get into why the 1965 quarter is so special and what could make it worth anywhere from $55,000 to $3.7 million. First off, let's set the stage. 1965 was a pretty unique year for American coins. You see, that was the year when the U.S. Mint made a major change in the composition of its quarters. They transitioned from 90% silver to a more durable copper-nickel blend, which is why most of the 1965 quarters you come across are made of this more modern, less valuable metal. But here's where it gets interesting. Not every 1965 quarter is created equal. In fact, the reason some of them are worth so much has to do with something called a minting error. A minting error occurs when a coin is struck improperly during the production process, and this can lead to rare, one-of-a-kind pieces that are highly sought after by collectors and investors. Now, one of the most significant errors involving the 1965 quarter is the silver content error. Believe it or not, a few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck using the old silver planchets that were supposed to be used for the 1964 quarters, which were still 90% silver. This is where the magic happens. These silver planchet 1965 quarters have a much higher intrinsic value than their copper-nickel counterparts. Imagine you're holding a 1965 quarter in your hand and it has this silver content error. You might just have a coin worth thousands of dollars. In fact, the right 1965 quarter could potentially bring in anywhere from $55,000 to $3.7 million at auction. That's right, millions. And here's the thing, these coins are extremely rare, so finding one can be like striking gold. But it's not just about the silver error. Some of these 1965 quarters have other anomalies, like double die errors, where the coin was struck more than once, creating a noticeable double image on the coin's design. These types of mistakes are also highly valuable to collectors who are on the lookout for coins that have these unique features. Now, how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is one of these rare finds? Well, it's all about the details. The first thing you should look for is the weight. A typical 1965 quarter made of copper-nickel should weigh around 5.67 grams. If your coin feels heavier, it might have that precious silver content you're looking for. Additionally, a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help you spot double die errors or other unusual features in the design, and, of course, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins in mint condition, also known as uncirculated, will fetch a higher price. But even coins that have been in circulation can still be worth a considerable amount if they've got a rare minting error. So, what's the bottom line here? The 1965 quarter dollar is a perfect example of how something as simple as a coin can have an extraordinary story and a surprising price tag attached to it. While most of them are worth just a quarter, some rare 1965 quarters can be worth anywhere from $55,000 to $3.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, millions. If you've got a 1965 quarter in your pocket or in your collection, take a close look. It might just be the ticket to a life-changing payday. 1974 quarter dollar. We uncover the hidden treasures in your coin collection. Today, we're going to talk about a particular quarter that might be sitting in your pocket or lying around in your change jar, the 1974 United States quarter dollar. But this isn't just any ordinary quarter. It's a coin that could be worth a lot more than its 25-cent face value. Intrigued? Stick around, because you're about to learn just how much some of these 1974 quarters could fetch on the open market, and trust me, it's more than you might expect. Now, we all know the classic design of the 1974 quarter, George Washington on the front and the eagle on the back, right? But what makes the 1974 quarter so interesting isn't just the design, it's the rarity and unique features that some of these coins have, which could turn them from mere pocket change into a small fortune. Let's talk about the standard 1974 quarter first. You've probably come across a number of them in circulation over the years. These coins are made from a copper-nickel blend and feature a relatively simple, yet iconic design. In general, these 1974 quarters are not worth much more than their face value, maybe a few cents more if they're in pristine, uncirculated condition. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some of these 1974 quarters have rare, minting errors that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the most sought-after errors in the 1974 quarter series involves a rare mistake known as the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin shifts or is struck multiple times, causing the features on the front of the coin, like Washington's portrait, to appear doubled. This type of error is highly collectible, and if you have a 1974 quarter with this kind of mistake, you could be holding a coin worth a substantial amount. But that's not all. Another error that has sent some 1,974 quarters soaring in value is the missing clad layer error. You see, in 1974, the US Mint was still using a sandwich-like construction for its coins, an outer layer of copper nickel and an inner core of pure copper. Occasionally, some of these quarters were struck without the outer clad layer, leaving behind a coin that's mostly copper. These rare naked copper 1974 quarters are highly prized by collectors, and their value can skyrocket depending on the condition and the error. So, how much could these error coins be worth? Well, depending on the rarity and the quality of the coin, a 1974 quarter with a double die error or a missing clad layer can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands. And get this, if you have a truly rare and well-preserved example, it could even reach an astonishing price. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1974 quarter with the right error, in excellent condition, can be worth anywhere from $52,000 to $2.5 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, millions. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your 1974 quarter is one of these rare, high-value finds? The first step is to carefully examine the coin. Look for any doubling in the design, especially around Washington's face, the date, and the lettering. You can also check for any unusual smoothness or wear on the edges, which could indicate a missing clad layer. And next, take a good look at the overall condition. Coins in excellent, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that have seen heavy wear and tear. A clean, sharp, well-defined coin will always fetch a higher price at auction. If you're really serious about figuring out whether your coin is worth a fortune, it's always a good idea to get it professionally appraised or graded by a coin expert. They can help confirm whether you've got a minting error and give you a better idea of its market value. Imagine the excitement of realizing you have a 1974 quarter worth thousands, or even millions of dollars. For many collectors, this is the ultimate treasure hunt, finding that one coin that could change your life. Whether it's a double die error or a missing clad layer, the 1974 quarter has proven to be one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in US history. So, there you have it. The 1974 United States quarter dollar may seem like just another coin, but in reality, it could be worth much more than you think. If you happen to find one of these rare error coins in your collection, you could be holding on to something worth anywhere from $52,000 to $2.5 million. 1983 quarter dollar. Today, we've got something extra special on the table, the 1983 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another run-of-the-mill quarter, right? But trust me, this coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. You might be asking, what's so special about a 1983 quarter? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to reveal the hidden value and potential riches that some of these seemingly ordinary coins can bring in. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your pockets and your coin jars, hoping that you've got one of these rare finds. And the best part? Some of them are worth up to $500,000. Yes, you heard me right. Now, let's start with the basics. The 1983 quarter looks like most others, with George Washington on the obverse and the eagle with the olive branch on the reverse. It's a design that's been around for decades and doesn't look all that different from what we see today. But here's the kicker, not all 1983 quarters are created equal. In fact, the 1983 quarter is part of a fascinating story in US Mint history, thanks to a few rare errors that make some of these coins incredibly valuable. You see, in 1983, the US Mint produced millions of quarters as part of the standard coinage cycle, but they also experienced some interesting production quirks. The most notable of these quirks is the silver-clad error. In the early 1980s, the US Mint was still using a copper-nickel clad composition for most of its coins, but there were instances where a small number of 1,983 quarters were struck using the wrong planchet. Instead of the regular copper-nickel clad, these rare quarters were mistakenly struck with a silver planchet, the same type of metal used for quarters made before 1965. This error happened due to a mix-up at the minting facility, and as a result, a handful of these 1983 quarters have a much higher intrinsic value than their copper-nickel counterparts. So, how does this affect the value? Well, a silver-clad 1983 quarter is significantly rarer than the regular version, and because it contains silver, its value is much higher. In fact, this mistake can lead to a significant price jump at auction, but that's not the only error that makes some of these coins so valuable. Another potential error that can make a 1983 quarter more collectible is the double die obverse, a flaw where the design on the front of the coin, especially the lettering and Washington's portrait, appears doubled. These types of errors are highly sought after by collectors, and a coin with this kind of flaw can fetch a pretty penny as well. But wait, it gets even better. If you happen to find a 1983 quarter that's been kept in pristine condition, a mint state specimen, the value could be much higher than a regular quarter, even if there's no minting error. Coins in perfect or near-perfect condition are always more desirable to collectors. It's all about that shiny, uncirculated look, the kind of coin that looks like it's just left the mint and hasn't touched a pair of hands or a cash register in decades. So, how much are these rare 1983 quarters worth? Well, the value can vary widely depending on the error, the condition of the coin, and its rarity. A standard 1983 quarter in regular circulation isn't going to bring in much more than face value, but if you've got one of those silver-clad error coins, or if your coin is in mint condition or features a double die error, you could be looking at a much more substantial payout. Ready for the big reveal? Depending on the rarity, condition, and error type, a 1983 quarter could be worth anywhere from $50,000 to $500,000. Yes, that's right, $500,000. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare coins, especially with the silver error or double die features, you could be holding onto a true collector's item that could change your financial future. And now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I have one of these rare 1983 quarters? The first thing to do is to examine the coin carefully. Look for any noticeable doubling on Washington's portrait, the date, or the lettering. A magnifying glass can help you spot any subtle imperfections in the design that might indicate a double die error. And next, check the weight of the coin. If your 1983 quarter feels unusually heavy, it could be a sign that you've got one of those silver-clad quarters. Regular 1983 quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, but if your coin is a silver-clad error, it could weigh more, closer to 6.25 grams, and of course, don't forget to look at the condition. A well-preserved, mint state 1983 quarter is going to fetch much more than a coin that's been heavily circulated. If you've got a gem, it's definitely worth taking it to a professional grader for an official evaluation. Finding one of these rare 1983 quarters could be like hitting the jackpot in the world of coin collecting. Whether it's the silver error, the double die, or simply the coin's pristine condition, these little treasures could be worth a lot more than you ever thought possible. So, there you have it. The 1983 United States quarter dollar may seem like just another coin, but it's actually a potential goldmine for those who know what to look for. If you have one of these rare, error-filled, or mint-condition 1983 quarters, you could be holding onto a coin worth anywhere from $50,000 to $500,000. 1986 quarter dollar. Today, we're talking about a quarter that you might have never thought twice about, the 1986 United States quarter dollar. Now, before you write it off as just another piece of pocket change, let me tell you, this particular quarter has the potential to be worth a small fortune. You see, while most 1986 quarters are just your standard copper-nickel composition with the classic Washington design, there are a few rare finds that could make you a lot richer than you think. And trust me, some of these 1986 quarters could be worth anywhere from $47,000 to $300,000. That's right, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a quarter you might have sitting in your collection or even your pocket right now. Now let's start by talking about the basics. The 1986 quarter, like most quarters from this era, features the iconic image of George Washington on the obverse, with an eagle perched on an olive branch on the reverse. Nothing too unusual about that, right? But it's the errors and misprints that turn a regular 1986 quarter into a true treasure. The first and most valuable error we need to talk about is the double die obverse, a term that might sound familiar if you've been collecting coins for a while. A double die error happens when the coin's die is improperly aligned, causing the design to be struck more than once, resulting in a doubled image. For a 1986 quarter, this usually means that you'll notice a doubling of Washington's face, the date, or the lettering around the edge of the coin. And now, what does this mean for the value of the coin? Well, when you find a 1986 quarter with this type of error, you're holding a coin that's in high demand among collectors. Double die coins are rare and highly sought after, and they can command a premium price. The value of a 1986 double die quarter can range anywhere from several $1,000s to tens of thousands depending on the quality of the coin and how noticeable the error is, but there's another error that can make the 1986 quarter even more valuable: the off-center striking error. This happens when the coin is struck off-center, meaning the design doesn't fully align with the edges of the coin. If you come across a 1986 quarter that's been struck this way, especially if the error is pronounced and the design is partially or completely off the coin's edge, you've got something that could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. So, let's break it down. If you find a 1986 quarter with one of these rare errors, it could sell for anywhere from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. But if you've got an example that's in pristine condition, well, that's when things really get interesting. Coins that are well preserved, in mint state or near mint condition, are always more valuable than those that have been in circulation for years. A perfectly struck 1986 quarter, especially one with a rare error like a double die or off-center strike, can fetch a serious price at auction. And for those truly perfect specimens, we're talking about numbers that could range anywhere from $47,000 to $300,000. Yes, $300,000. For just a single quarter. Now, I'm sure you're asking, how do I know if my 1986 quarter is one of these rare finds? Well, here are a few tips to help you spot the treasure hidden in plain sight. First, take a close look at the design. If you see any noticeable doubling in the date or Washington's portrait, you might have a double die error on your hands. You can also use a magnifying glass or a loupe to get a closer look. Sometimes the doubling is subtle, but if you catch it just right, it could mean big money. And next, check the coin's condition. A 1986 quarter in mint state, meaning it's nearly flawless with no significant scratches, dings, or discoloration, is going to be worth far more than one that's been circulated for decades. The more well-preserved it is, the higher the price it can command. Lastly, pay attention to the weight and strike. If your quarter seems unusually light or if it appears off-center, it could be one of those rare misprints. Again, an off-center strike is something that collectors go crazy for, so if you spot one, hold on to it. And here's a pro tip: always keep your valuable coins in a safe, dry place. Using coin holders or capsules will protect them from wear and tear, ensuring they stay in the best condition possible for when you're ready to sell or get them appraised. Imagine the excitement of discovering a 1986 quarter worth tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. It's every coin collector's dream to find that one rare coin that could change their life, and the 1986 quarter could just be that coin. So, there you have it. The 1986 United States quarter dollar may seem like just another coin, but thanks to rare minting errors and exceptional condition, it has the potential to be worth anywhere from $47,000 to $300,000. If you have a 1986 quarter sitting in your collection, or even tucked away in your pocket, make sure to take a closer look. It might just be the key to a major payday. 1988 quarter dollar. Today, we're going to talk about a particular coin that you might have overlooked in your collection, the 1988 United States quarter dollar. It's a coin you've probably seen 100 times, but did you know that some 1988 quarters are worth far more than just 25 cents? And I'm not talking about a couple of bucks, we're talking thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard me right. Now, before you start digging through your coin jars, let me tell you a little secret. The 1988 quarter, while it might look like any other standard coin at first glance, holds some valuable surprises. While most of these coins are made from the typical copper nickel clad, there are a few rare versions that could make you a lot of money. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have your eyes peeled for these rare finds that could be worth anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000. That's right, $45,000 to $60,000. Let's get into it. The 1988 quarter features the classic design of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle with an olive branch on the reverse, right? This design has been a staple of U.S. coinage for decades. But what makes the 1988 quarter so interesting isn't just the design, it's some of the rare minting errors that make certain 1988 quarters highly collectible and worth far more than their face value. The first error you should know about is the double die obverse error. This is one of the most exciting mistakes that can happen during the coin's production. It occurs when the coins die. The metal stamp used to engrave the design onto the coin shifts slightly, causing the design to be stamped twice. This results in a doubling effect that's most noticeable around the date and the lettering. On a 1988 quarter, you'll see the date 1988 and the word Liberty appear with a double image, which makes the coin much rarer and more valuable to collectors. Now, you might be asking, why does this doubling matter? Well, double die errors are considered a serious mistake in the minting process, and they're highly sought after by collectors. These coins aren't just mistakes, they're unique pieces of history. A 1988 quarter with a noticeable double die error can fetch a premium price. The value? It can range from several $1,000s to tens of thousands depending on the quality and severity of the error, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Another rare feature that some 1,988 quarters have is the off-center striking error. When a coin is struck off-center, the design doesn't align properly, and you'll notice that part of the coin's design is missing or misaligned. This error occurs when the coin blank is not perfectly positioned during the minting process, which results in an off-center image. For a 1988 quarter, if you find one that's off-center, especially one with significant misalignment, it can be a valuable find. Off-center coins are another type of minting error that can drive prices up significantly in the numismatic market. So, what are we looking at in terms of value? If you come across a 1988 quarter with a double die error or an off-center strike, it could be worth anywhere from several $1,000s to tens of thousands. And if your coin is in mint state, meaning it's in near-perfect condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, you could be looking at something worth even more. And here's the kicker: for a top-grade 1988 quarter with a rare minting error, you could see prices climbing all the way up to $45,000 to $60,000. Yes, that's right, a single 1988 quarter, in exceptional condition with a significant error, can be worth up to $60,000. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if my 1988 quarter is one of these rare finds? Well, it's time to put on your detective hat. The first thing you want to do is check the date and the lettering. Look closely at 1988 and Liberty to see if you can spot any doubling. A good magnifying glass or loupe will help you see the fine details and identify any subtle doubling that might be hard to notice with the naked eye. Next, inspect the alignment of the design. If the quarter looks off-center, with part of the design cut off or misaligned, then you might just have an off-center striking error. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin tends to be, and of course, condition matters. A quarter that's been well circulated over the years will typically have wear and tear, which lowers its value. But if you find one that's been kept in great condition, especially one of the rare error types we've discussed, you'll definitely want to get it professionally graded. A coin grading service can assess the condition of your coin and give it a grade, which will directly affect its market value. The thrill of finding one of these rare 1988 quarters is unlike any other. It's not just about the value, it's about the history behind the coin and the story it tells. With only a few examples of these errors out there, owning one of these rare quarters makes you a part of a very exclusive club of collectors. So, there you have it. The 1988 United States quarter dollar might seem like just another coin in circulation, but if you're lucky enough to have one with a double die error or off-center strike, you could be holding a piece of numismatic history worth anywhere from $45,000 to $60,000. If you've got a 1988 quarter sitting around, don't just toss it aside, take a closer look. It could be your ticket to a small fortune. 1989 quarter dollar. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that you might have passed over in your collection or even in your pocket change, the 1988 United States quarter dollar. You might be thinking, in 1988 quarter? That's just another standard coin, right? Well, not exactly. Stick with me, because this coin could be worth far more than you think. Now, most of us know what a 1988 quarter looks like. It's got George Washington on the front, the classic eagle on the back, and the typical copper-nickel composition. But here's the thing, there are some rare, special 1988 quarters out there that can make you a lot of money, especially if you know what to look for. And by the end of this video, you'll see just how valuable some of these quarters can be, and how you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Let's break it down. The 1988 quarter, just like other coins from this era, was produced in mass quantities. And while most of these coins are worth just 25 cents, there are a few rare errors that make some of them incredibly valuable. These are the coins that can fetch thousands, and in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. One of the most sought-after types of error for the 1988 quarter is the double die obverse error. This happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly or is misaligned, resulting in a double image, meaning the design on the front of the coin is stamped twice. If you closely inspect the 1988 quarter, you might notice that Washington's portrait, the date, or the inscription Liberty has a doubled appearance. It's a subtle mistake, but to collectors, it's a huge deal. Why does this matter? Well, double die errors are considered one of the most desirable minting mistakes among coin collectors. They can make a coin worth significantly more than just face value. If you come across a 1988 quarter with a clear double die error, especially if it's in great condition, it can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's right, just a simple misalignment in the minting process could make a coin worth thousands of times its face value, but the story doesn't end there. Another minting error to look out for on the 1988 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is improperly aligned during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. For example, if you notice that part of the eagle on the reverse is cut off, or that the edge of the coin is irregular, you might have a rare off-center quarter on your hands. Off-center errors can be extremely valuable, especially when they're more pronounced. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin could be. Okay, so now you're probably asking, how much are these error coins actually worth? Well, the value can vary widely depending on the error, the condition, and the rarity of the coin. But I'll tell you this, if you find a 1988 quarter with a double die error or an off-center strike in great condition, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $40,000 to $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $40,000 to $55,000 for a single quarter. If that sounds unbelievable, just think about it for a moment. A coin that most people wouldn't think twice about could be worth as much as the price of a car, or even a house, depending on the condition and error type. And the crazy part is, these coins are out there, waiting to be found. And now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare 1988 quarters? Well, here's what you need to do. 1. Examine the coin closely, look at the date and lettering. Is there any doubling? Can you see a slight overlap where Washington's features are doubled? This is the hallmark of a double die error. 2. Inspect the alignment. Does the coin look like the design is off-center? Are parts of the eagle or the edge of the coin misaligned? If so, you could have an off-center striking error. 3. Check the condition. Coins in mint or near mint condition are always more valuable. If your 1988 quarter is shiny, with little to no wear or scratches, it'll fetch a higher price than one that's been in circulation for years. If you think you've got one of these rare quarters, it might be a good idea to get it professionally graded. A professional coin grader will give your coin an official rating, and this can dramatically affect its market value. Higher grade coins typically command much more at auction. Finding a rare 1988 quarter could be the thrill of a lifetime for any collector. But even if you don't have an error coin, the 1988 quarter is still an interesting piece of history. However, for those of you with a keen eye and a little bit of luck, it's possible that a simple trip to your local coin shop or even your own change jar could lead you to a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, to wrap it all up, the 1988 United States quarter dollar might look like just another coin in your collection, but some of these quarters, especially the ones with errors like a double die or off-center strike, can be worth anywhere from $40,000 to $55,000. If you've got a 1988 quarter lying around, now's the time to take a closer look. You might be holding onto a hidden treasure that could change your life. 1994 quarter dollar. Hey, what's up, coin enthusiasts? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, you're in for a treat today. We're diving into something that might just surprise you, a coin that's been circulating for decades, yet has some hidden value. I'm talking about the 1994 United States quarter dollar. And now, most people probably think of the 1994 quarter as just another standard coin, you know, the typical George Washington on the front, the eagle on the back, nothing special. But hold on, because today we're going to uncover how some of these quarters could be worth a lot more than you think. We're talking about potential values ranging from $12,000 to $30,000. Yes, that's right, up to $30,000 for a single quarter. So, how does a 1994 quarter go from being a simple piece of pocket change to something worth thousands of dollars? Well, it all comes down to one thing: minting errors. As you probably know, not all coins are made perfectly, and some rare errors can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a valuable collector's item. The 1994 quarter has a few of these rare errors that can make it incredibly valuable. Let's start with one of the most exciting errors, the double die obverse error. This happens when the coin's die is struck twice, causing a doubled image. On a 1994 quarter, you'll see this doubling most clearly on the date and the word Liberty. These parts of the coin will appear blurry or double imprinted. If you come across a 1994 quarter with this kind of error, you found something special. Double die errors are incredibly rare, and collectors will pay top dollar for them. A 1994 quarter with a noticeable double die error could easily fetch tens of thousands of dollars, but that's not the only error to look for. Another highly collectible and valuable error in the 1994 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin's metal blank isn't perfectly centered during the minting process. As a result, the design gets struck off-center, creating a visually interesting and unique coin. If you happen to find a 1994 quarter with a major off-center strike, especially one where part of the design is missing, you've got a true treasure on your hands. Off-center errors are sought after by collectors because each one is unique, and the more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin. Alright, now that we know what to look for, let's talk about the value. Here's the big question: how much could a 1994 quarter with one of these errors actually be worth? If you happen to have a 1994 quarter with a prominent double die error or an off-center strike, it could be worth anywhere from $12,000 to $30,000. Yes, $12,000 to $30,000. Imagine that, a quarter, which you might have overlooked in your change jar or collection, suddenly turning into a significant financial find. But remember, the value really depends on the condition of the coin. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition, meaning they show minimal wear, scratches, or damage, will fetch the highest prices. A coin that's been circulated heavily will generally be worth less than one that's in pristine condition. So, if you find a 1994 quarter that looks like it's barely been touched, especially if it has a rare error, you could be looking at a coin worth far more than its face value. So, how can you tell if you have a valuable 1994 quarter? It's all about inspection and attention to detail. First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe, and check out the date and the word Liberty. If you see any sign of doubling, especially around these areas, you might have a double die error on your hands. The doubling can be subtle, so take your time looking at it from different angles. And next, check the alignment of the coin. If part of the design seems off-center or misaligned, it could be an off-center strike. These coins are easy to spot because the design doesn't line up correctly with the edges of the coin. A pronounced off-center strike can really increase the value of the quarter. Also, be sure to examine the overall condition. The less wear and tear a coin has, the more valuable it will be. If your 1994 quarter looks like it's been in circulation for decades, the value might be lower. But if it's got that fresh, uncirculated look, then it's worth taking to a professional coin grading service to see how much it could be worth. Now, let's talk about the importance of getting your coins graded. If you suspect that you found a rare 1994 quarter with a minting error, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by a certified numismatic organization, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. A professional grade can give you an accurate value of your coin, and this will help you determine whether it's worth holding onto, selling, or even auctioning off. So, there you have it. The 1994 United States quarter dollar might seem like just another coin in your collection, but with rare minting errors like the double die or off-center strikes, it could be worth anywhere from $12,000 to $30,000. That's right, a simple quarter can be worth more than most people expect, and the best part is, these coins are out there, waiting to be found. Today's episode is going to be one that you won't want to miss. We're diving into a coin that might look pretty ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth a whole lot more than you think. That's right, today, we're talking about the 1995 United States quarter dollar. And now, most of us know the 1995 quarter is just another one of those common, everyday coins. It features the familiar profile of George Washington on the front and the eagle on the back. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, the 1995 quarter has some hidden potential that can make it worth thousands of dollars, and I'm not just talking about a couple of bucks above face value. We're talking about serious value, ranging from $5,000 to $9,000. I know, you're probably thinking, wait, how is a 1995 quarter worth that much? It all comes down to minting errors. And while many coins get thrown out, discarded, or simply go unnoticed in a jar, some of these errors can make certain quarters highly valuable to collectors. It's not the typical quarter you might get in your pocket change that makes the money, it's the mistakes, the rare errors, that can take a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. First up, one of the most valuable errors that can happen to any coin is the double die obverse. This is one of those minting mistakes that coin collectors absolutely love. What happens is that the coin's die, the piece of metal used to stamp the design onto the coin, shifts slightly while it's being struck. This results in a doubling effect, where the image on the coin appears twice, usually in the date, the word Liberty, or even Washington's profile. It might sound subtle, but if you know what to look for, a double die error can really make a coin stand out. So, if you happen to find a 1995 quarter with visible doubling, and I mean clear, noticeable doubling on the date or lettering, that's your cue to start getting excited. A 1995 quarter with this kind of error could be worth anywhere between $5,000 and $9,000, depending on the severity of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if it's in great condition. But wait, that's not the only thing that could be working in your favor. Another common error that can make a 1995 quarter incredibly valuable is an off-center strike. This happens when the blank metal piece that's meant to be struck isn't properly aligned with the die during the minting process. As a result, part of the coin's design is either missing or shifted off to one side. The more off-center the coin is, the more unique it becomes, and that uniqueness is what coin collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. If you happen to find a 1995 quarter with an off-center strike, it could also be worth anywhere from $5,000 to $9,000, depending on how far off-center the strike is and how well the coin is preserved. A truly dramatic off-center strike, one where a large part of the design is missing, could even push the value to the upper end of that range. And now, let's talk about how you can spot these valuable errors on your own. 1. Inspect for doubling. Get a magnifying glass or a loupe and carefully check the date and the word Liberty on the obverse, front, side of the coin. If you notice any kind of ghost image or doubling around these areas, you may have found a double die error. The doubling will often be most visible in the date, and you'll see a slightly shifted second image overlapping the first point too. Check the alignment. Take a close look at the alignment of the design. If any part of the coin is missing or shifted to one side, it could be an off-center strike. These errors are typically easy to spot because part of the design will be either cut off or pushed off the edge of the coin. Point 3. Examine the condition. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins that have been circulated heavily, with lots of scratches or wear, will generally be worth less than those that are in better shape. If your 1995 quarter looks shiny, has well-defined features, and shows little to no signs of wear, it could be worth more. If you do find a 1995 quarter with one of these errors, don't just toss it back into your change jar. You'll want to have it professionally graded. Getting it graded by a reputable service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, will help you understand its true value. A graded coin will not only give you an accurate valuation but will also make it easier to sell or auction it if you decide to cash in on your find. So, to wrap things up, a 1995 United States quarter dollar may seem like just another regular coin, but thanks to rare minting errors like double die and off-center strikes, it could be worth anywhere from $5,000 to $9,000. If you have a 1995 quarter with one of these errors, it could be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket, just waiting to be discovered. Now, I'm sure many of you are heading to check your 1995 quarters, and that's exactly what you should be doing. If you find one of these rare minting mistakes, you might just have a coin that's worth far more than face value. Thanks for tuning in today. If you want more tips on rare coins and their value, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a 1996 quarter? Isn't that just another regular coin? Well, not so fast. Today, I'm going to show you how this seemingly ordinary quarter could be worth far more than you might imagine. We're talking about a coin that could fetch anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. And if you're wondering how that's possible, stick around, because we're about to uncover the secrets behind this rare and valuable find. Let's set the stage. The 1996 quarter was part of the standard coinage minted by the U.S. Mint and has the usual designs we're all familiar with: George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. It was produced in massive quantities as part of the regular circulation process, so you might assume that it's worth the same as any other modern quarter, but here's where things get interesting. Some 1996 quarters are special because of rare minting errors that make them extremely valuable. It's these subtle mistakes, often unnoticed by the naked eye, that can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. So, let's break down the kinds of errors to look out for, and what makes them so valuable. The first major error you want to watch for is the double die obverse. This is one of the most well-known and sought-after minting mistakes in the world of coin collecting. It happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during production, resulting in a doubled image. On the 1996 quarter, you'll notice this doubling on the date, the word Liberty, or even Washington's profile. If you find a 1996 quarter with noticeable doubling, you found a coin that could be worth far more than face value. Now, you might be wondering, how much is this error worth? Well, if you have a 1996 quarter with a double die error, the value could range from $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the severity of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. Coins in near-perfect or mint condition can command the highest prices, especially if the doubling is strong and easy to see, but that's not the only error that can make a 1996 quarter worth big money. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the metal blank used to create the coin is not aligned properly in the coin press, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing or misaligned. If your 1996 quarter has a strong off-center strike, it could be worth a lot more than you think. These coins are rare, and their unique look makes them highly collectible. If you find a 1996 quarter with an off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin worth anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, depending on how pronounced the misalignment is. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some of the most extreme off-center errors can command top dollar at auctions, so if your coin is misaligned in a significant way, it's definitely worth getting it graded by a professional. Now, let's talk about how you can spot these rare errors. First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe. Look closely at the date and the word Liberty on the obverse side of the coin. Are there signs of doubling? If you notice any kind of blurring or a second image faintly overlapping the first, you might have a double die error. Double die errors are typically most noticeable on the date and the lettering, so those are the areas you should focus on. And next, check the alignment of the design. If you notice that part of the coin's design is shifted, or if part of the coin is missing entirely, that's a good sign you might have an off-center strike. These coins are easy to spot because part of the design will be noticeably off the edge of the coin. Lastly, pay attention to the overall condition of the coin. Coins that have been circulated heavily, showing signs of wear and tear, will generally be worth less than coins that are in pristine condition. If your 1996 quarter is shiny, well-defined, and free of scratches, it's in great shape for a potential high-value sale. And here's a quick tip: if you think you found a rare 1996 quarter, don't just toss it aside. Get it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. These organizations can give your coin an official grade, and this can significantly increase its value when it comes time to sell or auction it. So, to sum up, the 1996 United States quarter dollar may look like a regular coin to most people, but with the right minting errors, it could be worth anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Whether it's a double die error or an off-center strike, these coins have a unique place in the world of numismatics, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. So, next time you're going through your change jar or looking through your collection, make sure to check your 1996 quarters. You might just have one that could make you a tidy profit. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. You never know, the next coin you find could be worth a whole lot more than you think. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting! If you're passionate about numismatics or just love learning about rare coins, then today's video is going to be a real treat. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1998 United States quarter dollar, a coin that's flown under the radar for many collectors, but is now commanding an impressive price tag. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. This is no ordinary quarter, and now, we all know the US quarter has been a staple of American currency for decades. But when it comes to the 1998 quarter, there's something special about this particular year that has made it highly sought after by serious collectors. Let me give you a little insight. First off, let's take a look at the design of the coin. The 1998 quarter features the iconic image of George Washington, as designed by John Flanagan, which has graced the coin since 1932. On the reverse, it carries a standard eagle, symbolizing freedom and strength. But what makes the 1998 quarter unique is not its design, but rather its rarity and the circumstances surrounding some specific 1998 issues. For collectors, rarity is key. And in the case of the 1998 quarter, we're talking about specific variations, errors, and proof versions that can dramatically change the coin's value. These are the ones that you'll want to keep your eyes peeled for. One of the most notable variations is the 1998 D wide AM error, which occurs on the reverse side of the coin. In this rare error, the letters A and M and the word America are spaced further apart than usual. This mistake wasn't intended, and it makes this coin incredibly valuable to collectors hunting for these rarities, but that's not all. There are also the proof versions of the 1998 quarter that were issued for collectors, as part of the annual proof sets. These coins were struck with extra care and attention to detail, giving them a shiny, mirror-like finish that makes them stand out. Unlike the standard circulation coins, proof coins are made in much smaller quantities, which makes them much rarer and more valuable. And now, you might be wondering, how much could a coin from 1998 be worth? Well, it's time to get into the good stuff. For a standard 1998 quarter in average circulated condition, you're looking at a value of around 25 to 50 cents, nothing too crazy. But when it comes to the 1998 D wide AM error or high-quality proof versions, that's where things start to get exciting. These rarities can fetch prices anywhere between $3,000 to $7,000, depending on their condition, the rarity of the error, and demand in the marketplace. Yes, you heard that right, some 1998 quarters could be worth as much as $3,000 to $7,000, that's right, just a quarter, a coin you probably toss around in your pocket every day, could be worth a small fortune if it's the right one. Now, imagine finding one of these while going through your loose change, or maybe in a roll of quarters from the bank. It's the kind of find that could make any collector's day, but how do you know if you've got one of these rare quarters? Well, the best way is to carefully examine the coin. Look for any errors in the design, particularly the spacing of the letters on the reverse side. And of course, if you think you've got a valuable coin, it's always a good idea to have it professionally graded by a trusted numismatic service to confirm its authenticity and condition. To wrap up, the 1998 United States quarter dollar isn't just another piece of pocket change, it could be a goldmine waiting to be discovered. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into the world of rare coins, this one definitely deserves your attention. So, take a closer look at those quarters in your change jar or your coin collection. You just might have a hidden gem worth a lot more than you think. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious and keep collecting. Remember, the 1998 quarter isn't just a simple coin, it's a treasure that could be worth anywhere between $3,000 to $7,000. Keep your eyes open, and you might just find a little piece of history and a lot of money. See you next time, coin lovers. Happy collecting!